The formal creative process was actually ironically laid out by some advertisers and then backed up by some research way after that. You have some kind of problem, right? This could be any kind of problem, but in this case, we're trying to come up with ads that will scale your business. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to think really, really hard about the problem. We're going to look at all of the information that we just ingested from the research, and then we're going to look at completely unrelated information. And by that, like when I was talking earlier about you doing this unconsciously, usually that just means you're going about your life, right? You have some problem at work, and then you're just, you hang out, you watch TV, you read a book.
Or you're walking down the road, right? And you're sort of thinking to yourself subconsciously, right?
Yeah, exactly right. Like you're just kind of picking up on your sensory experience of reality. And those things are getting funneled through this problem space that you're in. And when that happens, eventually you have an idea. Now, there's two different ways that people have ideas. If you're trying to come up with ideas for a specific purpose, like in this case, you're going to sit down and you're going to be like, okay, I need to come up with an idea for an ad. Sometimes that can be very hard. If you just have a blank page, even with all of this information in your mind, a lot of times you still get stuck, right? So it can be very hard to do that. The other big problem that I see with people just kind of using the formal process is you're going to sit down, whatever the first idea that comes to mind is, that's the thing you're going to use, right? That's what most people do. You come up with a bunch of ideas, then usually you take some more time off, walk around, blah, blah, blah. Maybe you share with your colleagues afterwards and they tear it apart, right? They're like, actually, this is garbage. Here's all the things you should fix. That's the formal creative process. The way that you can speed up that process is what you want to do is take each of those steps and then isolate the things that you need to do to basically get more reps in. And what I mean by that is you have an information collection stage. So rather than you just kind of walking around, reading books, watching movies, whatever, you can actually be systematic about collecting information, right? You have all of your brand information, you put it in one place, and then, okay, I need to come up with ads. I'm going to go and look at a list of hobbies. I'm going to go and look at all of my friends' jobs, right? There are these different kind of parts of reality that you can use as a filter for what you're coming up with. This is an idea called like combinatorics, which is how we came up with like thousands and thousands of ads.
One of those things be like just scrolling down LinkedIn or something and looking what your colleagues are writing about or talking about, and then sort of like subconsciously go, oh, that's a cool way of framing that thing I was already talking about. Is that an example?
Yeah, I mean, that is one thing you can do. And I think actually this is what most people do that are in creative strategy is they'll use other social media sites and just kind of scroll through. The other big thing, as I was mentioning earlier, is people just look at other people's ads and they'll copy those one for one. The way that you can be a little bit more creative and the way that you can speed up this process is taking things that you wouldn't normally think of and trying to make very far connections with your brand. So that's why I like things like a list of hobbies or lists of like sports, just large lists of information that are essentially, when you get a list, actually what you're seeing is an enumeration of concepts, right? So even if you can go to like any physics book or go to some random science, chemistry, whatever, the table of elements, right? Any of these things, they're simple concepts, right? Each element is a concept. You can read about the features of that thing. And then what you want to do is you try and figure out how do I combine lithium with an ad agency, right?